Listeners, NerdWallet wants you to let them do the work for you. Looking for auto insurance? The Nerds will match you with top providers in your area in just a few questions. So getting the right rate for you is as simple as going to nerdwallet.com. After all, letting NerdWallet do the work is more than smart. It's genius. Not all applicants will qualify for the lowest monthly payments. NerdWallet Insurance Services Incorporated. California resident license number OK92033. The Rachel Hollis podcast is proudly sponsored by Amica Insurance. As Amica says, empathy is our best policy. That's why they'll go above and beyond to tailor your insurance coverage to best fit your needs. Whether you're on the road, at home, or traveling along life's journey, their friendly and knowledgeable representatives will work with you to ensure that you have the right coverage in place. Amica will provide you with peace of mind. Go to amica.com to get a quote today. You can spend your whole life getting offended over everything. Or you can save your outrage for the stuff that actually matters. When you feel that level of outrage about the state of the earth and how we take care of her, the Amazon being destroyed, the polar ice caps melting, the problem is that when everything is important, nothing's important. When everything offends you, then nothing really offends you. When every little tiny thing is controlling your existence, it means anytime you open an app on your phone, you run the risk that your mood is going to shift and change. And not only that, but you will lose access to the stuff that really should upset you and that might propel you into the legacy you have yet to create. Hey guys, it's Rach. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here with us today. And I have a favor, which sounds kind of harsh if we just met, but I'm assuming that most of you have been a part of this community for a hot minute. And so I gotta ask, are you subscribed to the podcast? Subscribing to the podcast you listen to regularly is one of the best things that you can do for hosts like me. It helps to support the show and the staff that works on it. It ensures that you never miss an episode when we drop a new one. And here's the cool thing about subscribing. If you do it and then you hate this show, just unsubscribe. It's one click away. In the meantime, if you're listening, we would so appreciate it if you would just tap that button and make it official. Hi guys, it's Rach. Welcome to another episode of the show. Thank you for being here and hanging out and wanting to have this conversation with me. It is a bit of a one-sided conversation, but I still think of this as a community and a communion that you and I have together, and I'm grateful that you're here. Today's episode inspiration came to me while watching a motivational reel on Instagram. I am a sucker for some kind of motivational video where there's like a keynote speech with B-roll of people like working out, and it's all like black and white and it's inspiring and it pumps me up, or it's like someone in the military or someone who's an athlete or whatever. It is so cheesy, but I am a sucker for it. It's like motivational porn, and I swear the algorithm knows me. It'll just be like, Rachel, we think you probably want to watch this video by a boxer circa 1997. And I'm like, you're right, I do. So I happened to see this video, and he was talking about basically like, suck it up. Suck it up. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's brutal. Yes, it's all of these things, but you need to suck it up and keep going. And I'm going to be honest, I love shit like that. I do. I love it. I love it. Here's the thing. Not every day of every month can I handle someone in a motivational way telling me to suck it up and keep going? But on the flip side, there are times where that is so helpful for me, like that I just need to shake myself out of it and keep moving forward. And I'm so grateful for like a Navy SEAL in a YouTube short screaming at me to keep going. Like, I don't know about you, but I find it really helpful sometimes. Sometimes I'm like hormonal and I'm crying. And if someone tells me to push harder, I will crumble into a ball and go eat some cake and like hold myself and weep. But other times I'm like, yes, thank you for reminding me that I am strong enough to take another step. So I saw that video and I loved it. And I was like, oh, I wonder if there's anything like sort of if I have any thoughts along the similar vein. And I don't love a like straight, like, yeah, you can do it. If you want that, come see me speak live. But on the podcast, I try and do things that are a bit more open, that can kind of apply to a wider audience, not just people who really want the hardcore motivation. And so what I thought of when I saw that video was, when in life I need to hear to suck it up and keep going. Like, what's going on in my life at that particular moment that I really need that information? And could I build an entire episode for y'all around that time period? And what I thought of was that I need that kind of in-your-face motivation when I'm making it harder on myself than it needs to be. And when I say it, I mean life. When I am making life harder on myself than it needs to be, when I am making the pursuit of my dream harder than it needs to be, when I am making the goal harder than it needs to be, when I'm making motherhood harder than it needs to be. And I'm assuming if you're like me, you also accidentally find yourself in places, in seasons, in days or weeks or months where you are inadvertently making it harder. Let me explain. I was at yoga a couple months ago, and my favorite yoga pose, which before I ever tried yoga, I never thought I'd have a favorite yoga pose other than, dead man's chest or whatever you like lay on the ground like you're just like a dead body, like laying there sleeping. For years, I had never done yoga, and so that was the only yoga pose I liked. But I actually do have a favorite yoga pose, and it's dancer's pose. I think it's so pretty. When I do it, I feel beautiful. Like, I look in the mirror and I'm like, wow, your body's cool. You are beautiful. This feels very badass. I really love this pose. I'm in class and I'm taking a class by one of my favorite yoga instructors. Shout out to Joel. And Joel says, he gives the direction to go into dancer's pose. And I hike my leg up behind me. You put your foot into your hand. I lean forward. I'm, holding one foot, leaning forward. It's just, if you know it, you know it. And I'm feeling very fancy in my yoga, but also I'm a wobbly mess. It's a balancing pose and it's hard for me. I'm like doing that shaky, like I'm unbalanced. I'm the boogie woogie bugle boy of company B. Like, I'm just like, ugh. And Joel comes up to my yoga mat, which is always like a little disconcerting because I'm an A+ teacher's pet, and I never want my yoga teacher to be like, you're doing it wrong, because I should get everything perfectly. But he comes up to me and he's like, Rachel, and he takes my hand and he readjusts my hand, and I realize it's hard to explain if you're watching this or if you're listening to this on audio. But I had like inadvertently, I was so quick to grab my foot and get into the pose because I wanted to like achieve something, that I had twisted my arm around and my wrist in a really funky way. Like, I had basically given myself a chicken wing to hold my foot in the air. And he was looking at me like, what is she on? And he was like, Rachel. And he just took my hand and loosened my wrist and then showed me how to put my foot. And it was like the easiest thing in the world. All of the wiggling and balancing struggle immediately stopped. And he looked at me and he said, don't make this harder on yourself than it needs to be. And I was like, I am going to bring this up in a podcast episode at some point because it was such an aha moment for me. It's the simplest things. It's the slightest adjustment that we need to make to bring ease and flow to our current life, existent project, relationship, whatever. But oftentimes we are so caught up in the process of doing that we don't realize we got our arm in a funky chicken wing and there's a much easier way to pull off the pose. So my intention for this episode is to be your version of my yoga teacher today and to perhaps point out some ways that you might be making this harder than it needs to be. As I go through these things today, would you do me a favor? If you find any of this helpful, would you share this episode? Send it to a friend, share it with your mama or your husband or someone in your life that you think could help to be an accountability buddy and help point out the ways that you might be doing these things. Or maybe you see someone in your life who is doing these things and you want to use this as a conversation starter. Just hit the share button and let them know about the work that we're doing here on the show. I would really appreciate it. It's worth saying before I jump in that almost every single thing I am going to mention potentially is going to be a little triggering for you. You're going to hear it and you're going to be like, no, that's not fair. That's not my fault. I shouldn't be that. Like you'll have a response. And so what I would love to point out to you right now before we jump in is that if something does make you feel like an instant negative response to what I'm saying, that you would use that as an indication that there's something there, that there's some kind of like, ooh, I have some weird feelings around this particular subject. And just know there are times of life where you will be able to receive this information. And there are other times in life where it's going to piss you off. It's like me telling you, I love a motivational post. And there are certain times where that really fires me up and other times where it really pisses me off. So I don't consume that kind of content unless I'm in a place to receive it. So for you, I'm going to say the same thing. This is maybe not an episode you watch or listen to if you are not in a mood to be challenged a little bit. All right. If you are still here, we're going. You have been warned. The number one way that you might be making this all harder than it needs to be, you have to stop feeling sorry for yourself. Yep. I'm going to go ahead and start there. You have to stop feeling sorry for yourself. All right, now that our blood pressure is spiked a little bit, let me unpack this. We have to go through periods of life where we need to process the hurt that has been done to us. We need to process the hard stuff that we have walked through. We need to process it. You need to do your therapy. You need to do your prayer. You need to meditate. You need to unpack and go through and deal with the pain, deal with the hurt, deal with the anger, the bitterness, the rage, whatever is inside of you. That is what has to happen first. But let's say you've done therapy. Let's say you've processed the thing. Let's say you have done the work to get past, your abusive ex-girlfriend. You've done what you needed to do to come to terms with the fact that your mother was a narcissist. You have you've done it, right? You've dug in, you've talked to your friends, you've talked to your therapist, you've talked to anyone who would listen, you've done the work, okay? At some point, you have to suck it up and not feel sorry for yourself anymore. Not because you don't deserve those feelings, but because those feelings are making you weak. Now, pain, sadness, bitterness, any of the things that I talked about, those are real, those are true, those must be dealt with, those must be faced head on. You got to look in the mirror and be like, here is my stuff, okay? But once you have done that, if you remain in a space of feeling sorry for yourself, if you keep rehashing over and over all the wrong that has been done to you, it will make you weaker. It will rob you of momentum. It will rob you of strength. It will erode your confidence in yourself, in your project, in your work, in your dreams. I'm not saying it's not justified. In fact, if that's what you want to do, this is your life. This is your chance. These are your decisions. Sit in feeling sorry for yourself for the rest of your life. That is your decision. But understand that feeling sorry for yourself and moving forward in a real, authentic, true way, those two can't coexist together. They just can't. This episode is brought to you by Saks Fifth Avenue. It's spring, or I guess I should say it's almost spring. But the second the weather starts turning and getting even slightly warm, I start looking for spring style. I think it goes back to when I was a little girl and I used to get an Easter dress. There's something about this time of year that makes me want to look for long, flowy maxi dresses and fun date night outfits, and maybe even something to spruce up my wardrobe for work. At Saks, you can find instant inspiration for whatever is on your list. Curate a brand new closet refresh or just get one or two great pieces to upgrade your overall look. If you're looking for shopping to be fun, easy, and stylish, then head to Saks for inspiring ways to upgrade your personal style. Shop Saks.com. I have the New Balance 1080s in two different colors. I've got the sort of minty green moment and I've got the white moment because, you need it for the outfit. The New Balance 1080 is the ultimate daily trainer, combining reliable comfort with top-tier performance. Whether you're logging miles or running errands, the 1080 seamlessly transitions from the coffee shop to the grocery store, offering versatility from everything from everyday to race day. The New Balance 1080 midsoles offer cushion support, and I mean it, you guys. It's like bouncing on top of a cloud. Featuring a lightweight and breathable mesh upper, the New Balance 1080 keeps your feet cool and fresh throughout every run. Shop the 1080 at newbalance.com. When I was going through a very public breakup, there was so much behind the scenes that nobody knew. Turns out there was a lot behind the scenes that even I didn't know. But what I knew and what had happened, it's making all sorts of emotions like bubble up in me. My throat's getting tight. My throat chakra is like so used to not being allowed to like speak truthfully. I just feel all of these things and even mentioning it. And I'm not going to dig in and I'm not going to unpack it. And that's not what I'm going to do. But there's a lot of truth that has come out. And when I was going through my divorce, I was publicly shamed on every level. Stories were made up about me, all of the things that I had done, that I was doing. I was this bad person. I was this Jezebel. I was a liar. I was all of these things. And I didn't want to explain to a public why I was making the choices I was making. And if you went back and reviewed 3 years of any time I've spoken about it, I've said it was an unhealthy marriage. It was very unhealthy for me. It was very unhealthy for our children. All of those things were true. I said what truths felt like I could say. But I didn't want to reveal truths that my children were not aware of. And I also just felt like it was shitty to talk about someone else's truths. Yeah, the truth finds a way to come out, I guess, is the headline there. My point is that the whole time I was being shamed publicly and privately by this person, I knew the truth. I knew the truth, and I didn't say it. And I felt sorry for myself for about a year, maybe more, maybe a year and a half. I felt really sorry for myself. I was trying to keep a company together that had been almost completely destroyed by the decisions of someone else. I was trying to dig the company out of financial ruin so that I could keep 60 employees employed. I was dealing with a really ugly, hideous divorce. I was trying to raise 4 kids who were grieving. I was really struggling every fucking day with not knowing how on earth I would get to the other side of it. Really struggling every day. And what I mostly latched onto was a feeling of, this isn't fair. This isn't fair. Nobody knows the truth. And nobody cares was the other thing that I told myself a lot. Nobody cares about the truth. Nobody cares about me in this. They care about the story or what's sensational, or I really wallowed in that for a very long time. And it didn't serve me at all. It didn't serve me at all, because the more that I obsessed over this idea that this wasn't fair, the more I gave power to the person who was hurting me. That person became the monster under the bed. It became this massive thing. It became, I felt like I couldn't get past it or I couldn't get out of it. And y'all, I had to be strong. I had to be strong. I was a leader of a massive team at work. I have kids who are counting on me. I am the financial supporter of my family and have been for years. Like, everything's on my shoulders. I felt like, Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the hill, like so much. I know Atlas is the one with the world on his shoulders, but like both of those characters is what I felt like. And I look back and I understand how much weaker I made myself by indulging in the feelings of why me? Why me? Why is this happening to me? Why didn't I understand? Why didn't I see this sooner? Why didn't I stand up for myself? Why didn't I push harder? Why didn't I fight back? Why? I just use this as ammunition obsessively. And in retrospect, I realize it took me so much longer to heal and to get past it and to regain my strength. It took me so much longer because I just sat in that feeling sorry for myself. And I can tell you, if any of you find yourself in a similar place, I have a friend who was screwed over by a business partner, like horribly screwed over by a business partner. And lots of friends who have, exes that were just garbage, bosses that are terrible, like your parents, whatever. We all have our version of this. But I can tell you that when things really started to change for me was when I stopped feeling sorry for myself. I just accepted what is. Just accepted it. It is. It sounds like the simplest, maybe stupidest thing in the world. But when I just accepted, you know what, Rach, you got it wrong. You got it wrong about this person. You got it wrong about who you should trust. You got it wrong about how to handle it. You got it wrong. You got it wrong. And I told you earlier in the conversation, I like to do things perfectly. I like to get it exactly right. So that was a hard pill to swallow. Because oftentimes I think we stay in the space of feeling sorry for ourselves, because feeling sorry for yourself is way easier than admitting how angry you are with yourself for getting it so wrong. Because if we're not feeling like, if we're feeling sorry for ourselves, we can blame someone else. Taking responsibility, accepting everything as it is, Stoic philosophy, like it is what it is. Accepting that was how I began to change. Like, okay, this person is who this person is. The reality is what the reality is. Here's how you're strong. Here's what you can do. That's solution oriented. When you get out of the murk of feeling so freaking sorry for yourself, on the other side of that is solutions, ideas, resources, connections, strength you forgot that you had. There's a warrior mentality in that. But if you keep supplying yourself with all of the reasons that you are so weak, you are going to stay here in this swamp. I would love if you ask yourself, maybe you pause this episode for a minute and just sit with this question. Where in my life am I feeling sorry for myself that I need to just accept what is and move forward? Visiting South Dakota was always one of my someday things. Like, well, someday I'm going to go see the Dakotas, and someday I'm going to walk through Badlands National Park, and someday I'm going to see Mount Rushmore in person. And then a couple summers ago, I just made someday today, and it was awesome. The kids and I had the most amazing time. We went hiking. We saw Mount Rushmore, which is like shockingly more majestic than you think it would be. We had amazing dinners. We stayed in this awesome log cabin in a national park. It was truly one of our favorite family vacations. And I loved it because it was this great blend of seeing a part of the U.S. I'd never seen before and being outside in nature. So maybe it's time you turn someday into today. See why there's so much South Dakota and so little time. Plan your escape at travelsouthdakota.com. Look, everyone knows that toilet paper is not created equal. Not all rolls are the same. Some are too soft. Some, can we say, sort of crumble, if you know what I'm saying. Then other toilet paper is so strong that it can actually hurt. And let's not even talk about the toilet paper that is so thin, it doesn't get the job done. Angel Soft is soft and strong and always affordable. Come on, life is too short. There's too much going on. I don't want to have to overthink this. So pick up a pack of Angel Soft in the toilet paper aisle of your nearest retailer. That's Angel Soft, soft and strong. Simple. All right, the second way that you might be making this harder on yourself is by getting offended. Getting offended. I mean, this is the name of the game. This is what we do now. This is what the world is all about. This is what the internet is all about. It is all about getting offended. We love to get pissed off. Let me say that differently. I think the world loves to find a reason to get pissed off. The anger and the pissiness and the bitterness and the rage, those are all just sort of, percolating below the surface. We're just looking for an outlet to be pissed off. And we use the stuff that we see in the world, in media, on social, on the internet. We use that as an opportunity to feel offended. And again, I don't want to spend this whole episode but obviously there are moments, and there are some really harsh, disgusting crap happening in the world that you should feel deeply offended over and go to war to make stop. Bigotry, hatred, racism, sexism, hurting other people, war, what we're doing to our freaking planet. Like, there's so many things that you should be personally offended over. Someone saying a comment about the state that your grandma came from. You know, someone said something about Alabama and you were like, how dare you talk about Alabama? My great-great-grandmother, twice removed, was from Alabama. I am personally offended. You know, someone's like, oh, I don't like Chihuahuas because those dogs are mean. Number one, they're right. Number two, no, not all Chihuahuas, but many. Number two, what do you care if a stranger on the internet doesn't like the breed of dog that you love? What do you care? What do you care if a stranger on the internet's like, oh, working moms don't love their kids? Well, that person's an idiot. You're literally going to give energy to the idiot. You are going to take your time to feel 1 second, like any energetic shift in your being in a negative way over something that a stranger on the internet said about kitten heels, about dolphins. You guys, I mean, it's like I'm joking, but I'm not. Because when I see the stuff that people, by the way, they don't even need to get offended over someone saying something. Now people get offended over you not saying something. On one of the motivational videos I was watching, I didn't know, like when you're watching a video, I guess like when people comment that it pops up like on your video, you see someone comment. And one of the videos, the guy referenced a Bible verse. And you know, I born and raised in that environment, so I know all the Bible verses. And I was like, oh, he wasn't, I don't think he was like a Christian, whatever. But I was like, oh, that's cool that you're using this scripture to make this point, which is a very good point. And the person comment popped up and was like, well, if you're going to mention that Bible verse, then you should also mention these Bible verses. And if you're going to represent the Bible, then please do it. Like, it was so, she was offended that he didn't use more scripture in the 30-second video. Y'all, what is going on? What is going on? Okay. Again, this is your life. This is your decision. You do what you want to do. But I personally think that it is crazy to be giving people this much power over you with the words they say. And if you're like, well, what are you talking about? I'm offended because it pisses me off, not because someone has power over me. Yes, 100%. If someone's words can change your mood, you have given ownership of your energy away. And what's even worse is you are giving it away to inanimate people on a little box that you keep in your pocket. It's nuts. And the reason I wanted to do the show is because I was like, that's the thing. We get in this world and we're like so wrapped up and we're so busy and we don't understand that we're doing something that makes no dang sense until someone says, hey, sister, what you're doing is a waste of your time and energy. It reminded me, I went back and scrolled screenshots. I'm literally going to find when I literally scrolled all my screenshots in my phone going back to forever to find, because I remembered I had screenshotted a quote from Warren Buffett. Okay, I screenshotted this on December 26, 2018. So apparently this is what I was doing the day after Christmas, was scrolling Instagram. And it was a quote from Warren Buffett. If you're not familiar with Warren Buffett, if you know, you know, and if you don't care. It's a good quote either way. He said, "You will continue to suffer if you have an emotional reaction to everything that is said to you. I'm going to just read that sentence again. You will continue to suffer if you have an emotional reaction to everything that is said to you. True power is sitting back and observing things with logic. True power is restraint. Now, this is the gold. Please listen. Get ready. If words control you, that means everyone else can control you. Breathe and allow things to pass. You can spend your whole life getting offended over everything. Or you can save your outrage for the stuff that actually matters. When you feel that level of outrage about the amount of people who will sleep on the street tonight in your hometown, when you feel that level of outrage about the state of the earth and how we take care of her, the Amazon being destroyed, the polar ice caps melting, like when you see that giant floating island of plastic in the middle of the ocean, like let those moments of outrage propel you to make real change. The problem is that when everything is important, nothing's important. When everything offends you, then nothing really offends you. When every little tiny thing is controlling your existence, it means anytime you open an app on your phone, you run the risk that your mood is going to shift and change. And not only that, but you will lose access to the stuff that really should upset you and that might propel you into the legacy you have yet to create. Okay, the next way that you might be making life a lot harder than it needs to be, or making success much harder to achieve, is that you make their opinion more powerful than your own. You make their opinion more powerful than your own. Because if you hear someone else's opinion of your business, your product, your service, the thing you're trying to do, the book that you wrote, if you hear someone else's opinion and it immediately shuts you down, then their opinion is more powerful than yours. If you have an idea for something that you're really excited about and then you go tell your partner about it and they're like, I don't know. That's not really my thing. I'm not really into that. There is a part of me in the past that if I got really excited about something and then I took it to my partner or my bestie or my kids or whatever, I'd be like, oh my gosh, you guys, we should totally go do this thing. And they were like, it's like, whatever. Like, I don't know if I'm really that into the idea. It was like a stop sign. It was like immediately my interest, my enthusiasm, my joy, my curiosity were all squashed. I'm sure that goes back to the way I was raised to be a people pleaser and to think that other people's opinion was more powerful than what I thought. But I've since learned that if someone's like, I don't know, I'm not that interested in the idea, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm going to go do it by myself. In fact, if you haven't listened to it, there's an episode every Monday. I do an episode here on the show called A Quick Word. So quick words are great because they're less than 10 minutes. So it's just like a quick word on something to start your Monday off. And I did a quick word on flying solo. The entire conversation was about going to concerts by myself because I freaking love music. It's one of my favorite things in the whole world. I love going to a show. And there's few things that are more disappointing to me than going to a concert that I'm really excited about with someone who doesn't like the band we're seeing or doesn't like the artist that's performing. It's the worst. Now, some people are like, they're down to clown. those Enneagram 8s, they're here for the party, they're here for whatever. They don't care what the music is. They're going to have a good time. But most people will go because they love you, but they might not enjoy themselves. And if you're someone who can sense the emotions of other people, if you are a people pleaser, then you're constantly adjusting your thermostat to someone else's temperature. So you're like, oh, dang, they're really not enjoying this. And so, I'm not really enjoying this. In that episode, I talk about the fact that you should just go to stuff by yourself. Just go by yourself. You're totally allowed. Go by yourself. You will have so much more fun by yourself. And not only that, you will probably meet other people who are interested in the same stuff you are interested in because you're not there with a bump on a log. It doesn't mean that your partner's like bad or wrong or you're incompatible because, he doesn't like death metal the way you like death metal. No, it just means that this is your thing and you should embrace your thing. You make things so much harder on yourself when you make someone else's opinion of anything in your life more important than your own. And I'd go so far as to say that that is relevant for the hard stuff too. Yeah, I think that a lot of times in business, this happens a lot, where for me personally, the most success I have experienced is when I am trusting my gut. It is all intuition. It is all guided. It is all right on plan, right in line. Where I have historically made the biggest mistakes financially, the biggest mistakes in terms of planning for my business or launching things too soon, it was 100% of the time because I was listening to other people and I had a feeling in my gut that something wasn't right, but I ignored that feeling in my gut because I thought that their opinion was more important than my own. And I do this in business a lot. I don't know if you guys ever find this, especially for those of you who are entrepreneurs or leaders. I've got some weird psychology around thinking that a man's opinion is smarter than mine. And I don't even necessarily think that consciously, but it's the environment I was raised in. I was raised in a deeply patriarchal home. I went into a marriage that was patriarchal. Like, if the man said it, it was right. The religion I grew up in was very much over and over and over. It was instilled in you that the man knew best, that your husband knew better, that your father, your husband was the leader of the family. Imagine thinking that someone is smarter and wiser only because they have a penis. It's wild. And every day, all around this globe, in so many different cultures, in so many different religions, that is what women are taught again and again and again. If someone has a penis, they know more than you do. And it's crazy. It's crazy that you could experience success. It's crazy that you could work so hard for something and still subconsciously, which is very dangerous when it's subconscious, you're like, I think it should be blue. And then the penis in the room's like, I think we should do green. And it's like, oh my God, of course it should be green. And then later everyone's like, well, the sky was blue. Why didn't we just do blue? And you're like, God, I knew it should be blue. So why didn't you do it? Well, because I trusted their opinion more than my own. Look, this philosophy doesn't insinuate that you are always right. In fact, you're going to be wrong a lot. That's the beauty of partnership. That's the beauty of accountability. That's the beauty of asking yourself questions and really understanding things and not rushing, taking your time and being intentional. That's the beauty of it. I don't want you to think that you know the answers to everything. I just want you to stop assuming that they definitely know the answers to everything. Because making their opinion greater than your own is going to sever your connection with your intuition, which is everything. Everything, everything, everything. Go slow, move with intention, check in with yourself, check in with that inner knowing about whether or not something is right. Allow them to have their opinion. Do not try and talk them out of it. Allow them to have their opinion because they're a human being and they're on their own journey. And give yourself the same grace. The fourth thing that you might be doing that's making this way harder. Quitting in the middle. Quitting in the middle. Favorite place for people to quit. It's pretty easy to start. It's pretty easy to start. It's pretty easy to get fired up. It's pretty easy to make a plan on January 1st. It's pretty easy when there's, a big milestone birthday or you move to a new town, something's going on. It's pretty easy to use the momentum of a big moment to start something. When you're at a race and, the pistol fires into the air and everybody starts running, it's pretty easy to run with the crowd. But what about mile 10? Mile 12? The hardest freaking mile of any race I have ever done was my first marathon, mile 18. Mile 18. Absolutely brutal. At mile 18, there's not much of a crowd anymore. They'll be there at the finish line, right? They're at the start, they're at the end. But at mile 18, it was hot as balls. It was so hot. I thought I was going to die. People were passing out left and right. There's not a lot of people watching me. And, what's that? There's a psychology around this. We work hard. Let's just look. Let's look so we know. Let's look so we know. Psychology around working harder when people are watching. Got it. It's called the Hawthorne effect. The Hawthorne effect was, if I'm not mistaken, like a sociologist or a psychologist or someone years ago was studying people in a factory. I could 100% be making this up. I'm going to keep it in because it's funnier if I am. But essentially, he was studying workers and he found when the workers were being watched, they worked harder. When you hear it, you're like, yeah, that makes total sense. But how often in your life do you do this? Me, that day running the marathon, mile 18, I still had 8 miles to go. I had been running for hours. It was 92 degrees. I felt like I was going to die, and I still had 8 miles to go. And do you know what saved me? My kids were waiting for me at the end of mile 18. My kids were waiting for me. So I knew that I was about to run by and all my kids were going to be there cheering at the end of mile 18. So I found something inside myself to look strong, to look like I had it together, to be able to not collapse because I knew my children would be watching. The problem is we find ourselves in the middle of the monotony. In the middle of, we've been doing this habit for months, in the middle of trying to make the business work, in the middle of it. And nobody's cheering for you, and nobody's watching, and nobody cares. And it's boring. And it was so much funner when you went out drinking all the time. It was so much funner when you were partying. It was so much funner when you slept all day on the weekend instead of getting after your hustle. Like, it was so much funner. It was so much easier. It was so much more relaxing. All of these things. And we trick ourselves into thinking, you know what, this sucks. I'm not getting anywhere. Nothing's going on. Why am I even putting in this effort? Because it's the middle. And the middle sucks. And the middle is where most people will give up. But not you. Not you. You did not put in all of this effort to stop here. You didn't. No freaking way. Because you know what you know deep down in your soul? If you quit, you're just going to have to start again later. You're just going to have to start again later. Maybe you're going to start again on this exact same project. Maybe you're going to come up with a whole new thing, because that's what we love to do. We love to start something new. So we pretend that the old dream and the old goal wasn't really what we wanted, wasn't really who we are. Actually, it's this thing over here. I meant to be this the whole time. When really that little voice, that like feeling in your stomach was like, you freaking gave up. You quit. If I have said it once, I have said it 1,000 times. I'm going to be an old lady doing this podcast. In the future, we probably won't even have like audio. It'll just like download this directly to your brain or whatever. But just imagine me 90 years old and I'm still going to be telling you the same thing. My success, not because I'm smart, not because I'm the best speaker, not because I'm the prettiest, not because I'm the most connected, not because of anything other than the fact that I just keep going. The internet can come up with all kinds of reasons why I've had the success that I have had, why other people have had the success that they have, why you have had the success that you've had. People can come up with all sorts of reasons, but the freaking truth for anybody is that they kept going. Period. There's no other answer. The amount of stuff that has knocked me flat on my back, the amount of things that has knocked you to your knees, that has had you crying, had you wanting to give up, that has put you into a shame spiral. You're feeling like crap. I should have done this. I should have done this. I should have tried harder. I should have pushed. I should have done whatever. Like all of that stuff. You're still here. You are still here, damn it. Don't give up now. Don't give up when you're just about to start to see some results. Look, if you need to fake some stuff, fake it. You know about the Hawthorne effect now, right? I told you about it. So take that knowledge, okay? I work harder if people are watching. Okay, start documenting your process in building this company in a vlog. Start telling your kids about what you're doing. Start having them share in the successes with you. Take them along when you're training for your first 5K. Like, bring other people into the process if that's going to help you. Don't quit in the middle. The beginning, everybody can do that. The end, very few people will ever see because they give up here. And they live a life that's just okay. And they do all sorts of things to numb themselves and pretend that they're not disappointed with all of the things that they stopped trying to do because it got hard. Don't give up here. In fact, don't even think about it. Don't debate it. Don't unpack it. Don't sit with it. Don't journal. Just be like, nope. We're not even thinking about this. We're just going to keep doing it. We're just going to keep going. We're just going to stay in the zone. We're just going to keep putting our head down and do the freaking work. Just do that. When that little like devil on your shoulder is like, maybe we should, go get drunk this week. No, just flick the devil off your shoulder and keep going. I swear. You just need some results. That's the thing that people don't get. That's what keeps you going. You just need some results. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and over and you don't see anything, you don't have anything to show for it, hell yeah, you're going to want to quit. So you need something that's going to keep you in the mix. And that's some kind of result. You want to know the result I'm rocking right now? If you're not watching this on YouTube, you should be, because it's fun and because that's where the vlog lives. But what you can't see is the greatest bicep I've ever had in my adult life. Look, look at this. You can see it. Okay, I'm not making it up. You can see it. And one of the reasons you can see it is because I have started wearing tank tops in videos because I'm proud of how my arms are looking. And my arms don't look like, I don't know, cool workout people, but it's the best my arms have ever looked. And the regimen that I've been doing, because I I don't know if I told you guys this, but like a month ago, I was like, damn it, I just want to know. I just want to know once and for all, what does it take to have defined arms? And my boyfriend, bless him, because he's like the king of like experimenting and like figuring out your body and like how to blah, blah, blah. And he was like, okay, just commit that it's going to take 6 months. And I was like, what are you talking about? If I stay on plan, if I'm working out, if I'm doing whatever, like I'll see results right away. And he's like, no, Rachel, if you actually want to know, commit to 6 months. Don't think about it. Don't question it. Just do what you already are doing, but don't change it up. Just stick with the plan, but commit to 6 months. And I'm 2 months in and I'm like, oh, this is okay. So I'm really curious to see what happens 4 more months from now. But it's so boring. It's so boring. It's just this arm workout and the dumb smoothie every day. And like, oh, you're not getting enough protein. Eat more protein. Like, ugh. But I don't want to quit in the middle. And there's 1,000 other things in my life I don't want to quit in the middle. And I don't think you should either. So stick with it. The fifth thing I'm just going to touch on very briefly because I did an entire podcast episode about it and you can go listen to it. It's episode 390, and it's why you're not manifesting. Certain things you might be doing that are keeping you from attracting the thing that you're working toward, attracting your dream partner, attracting your dream job, reaching that goal, achieving that revenue stream that you were hoping for. It's a great episode. It's been really popular in the community. So if you haven't listened, go check that out. But I just want to touch on this very briefly. One of the things that is going to make everything about your life feel hard is being in a vibration of fear. At the end of the day, I believe there are only 2 main emotions in the world, period. There is love and there is fear. And if you unpack any feeling that you are having, positive or negative, I think that you can keep unpacking it all the way back to either love or fear. When you are constantly obsessing over when is the goal going to happen? When is my dream man going to get here? When am I finally going to make the amount of money I want to? When, Lord, when universe, when guides, when. When you keep thinking about when you keep thinking about where is it? Why isn't it here yet? Why isn't it happening? Your vibrational level is one of fear. It's 100% grounded in scarcity. You are afraid that that thing is not going to come to you. Because if you had absolute faith that it will all work out just as it's meant to, you wouldn't be asking when. You wouldn't be asking where. If you had absolute faith in the process, if you had absolute faith in your creator, if you had absolute faith in divine providence, whatever you believe in, if you have true faith, you're not worried. It's only when we talk about when and where and why and all of these things, we're in scarcity. It's like, I remember at times in my life, financial is one that is deeply triggering for me. I grew up, my family struggled so badly with money, and we struggled with food, and there was a lot of fear for me around where money was going to come from and how we were going to make rent and there not being food in the refrigerator. There was a lot of fear for me as a child around financial scarcity. And I don't know if you guys can find a version of that in your life, but then it's very easy for me to be triggered into that again. And when I was going through all of this hardship in 2020, that really bubbled to the surface. And I would be like, when and where and where and where and where and where. And I realized, I mean, it took like clawing my way out. But I obsessively practiced meditating in abundance. I obsessed over, focusing on what I did have, focusing on the feelings of gratitude. And it's hard. When you're anxious about something like that, it is so hard to find enough peace to latch on to a gratitude meditation when you feel like you're in danger. When you're afraid, it's very hard. But I am telling you with every piece of my being that you will never attract the thing that you want. Or maybe you can hustle hard enough, work hard enough that you'll claw your way through, you'll beat your way into the building, right? But it is a totally different vibration than stuff just flowing to you. Then like everything's working. It's all working out. It's all just flow. It feels, you guys, it feels so different. It feels so easy. It feels so not stressful. And I pay so much attention to the parts of my life that feel easy and flowy and the parts of my life that feel stagnant and hard and frustrated and tension, because when things feel like that to me, it is a red alert. Run the flag up the flagpole, sound the alarm. This is an area I have to pour into with abundance and gratitude and positivity. And maybe you will roll your eyes and just be like, this is woo-woo and this doesn't affect me. The only reason you are saying that is because you haven't felt the flow of walking in faith. Because the second that you have a taste of that, you never want to go back to that fear again. And it's hard to learn to have faith when you're feeling so afraid, but it changes everything. Not only does it change your ability to bring things into your life, but it completely changes your enjoyment of the life that you're living. I hope that was helpful, guys. If there was something I said today that you were like, oh, Rach, take a deeper dive, or you've got a question about anything and everything, definitely call into the hotline. I do a regular episode here on the show called Ask Rach. You can call in. It's just like an old school answering machine. It's 737-400-4626. And you can call in, to my knowledge, from all over the world. We've had people call in from everywhere. So feel free to call in from wherever. Leave me a voicemail. You can do it anonymously. You can leave your name, but ask a question that you would like me to unpack on the show. And maybe it'll be in an upcoming episode, more information. And until then, remember, I love you. And I'm rooting for you. The Rachel Hollis podcast is produced by me, Rachel Hollis. It's edited by Andrew Weller and Jack Noble. There's a revolutionary bra brand so confident it will change your life, they let you wear it risk-free for 60 days. Evelyn and Bobby is changing the game with their patented wireless replacement designed to support, smooth, and flatter an inclusive range of bodies up to a K-cup. Wear it, wash it, put it to the test. If it's not the most comfortable, supportive, and flattering bra you've ever worn, you'll get your money back. No questions asked. Go to evelynbobby.com/Rachel for $20 off your first bra. It's time to play ball. My son has been working with his baseball team since the fall, and we are officially in baseball season. So if you're a mama like me and you got to stock up on all the sporting gear, now is the time. Academy Sports and Outdoors has the gear that you need, and you can bring it home for less. Gear up for baseball, softball, and t-ball with essentials from Easton, Rawlings, and Wilson at Academy. Academy offers free 1-hour in-store or curbside pickup if you're like me and you forgot to get the equipment in time. Swing by your local store or shop academy.com today and get ready to hit it out of the park.